Hey everyone, how are you? Thought I'd pop on for a short bit to talk about resolutions because it is that time of the year again. I, like you and like many millions out there, have made resolutions at the end of the year for the new year coming. Do I keep the commitments? Do I keep the resolutions? No. Despite all my best efforts and well-intentioned thoughts, words, actions, they've never stuck. So over the years, after a lot of passage of time and trial and error, what do I do now? Instead of making resolutions, I make plans. And those plans are not made on December 30th, the 31st, January 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 20th. They're not made in March, April, May, June. They're made throughout the year. They're made after careful consideration, after I've thought things through. What do I want? And where do I want to go? What do I want to have in my life? What do I not want to have in my life? Including people, including personalities. What do I want? I make a plan, and that takes time, but a plan sticks. So yes, I don't make resolutions, I do make plans, and I've learned over many years that that's what works for me. So I don't know if it works for you. You be you, you do you. Whatever works for you, that's fine. And please make sure that you do what works for you. If making a plan, making a commitment, making a promise isn't the phrase or the words that work for you, and perhaps the word resolution works best for you in defining what your plans are. But for me, it's a promise, it's a plan. It's very personal to me. And another thing I've learned throughout the years is I don't share my plans with people. I used to be wholeheartedly go into a conversation with friends or colleagues and buddies and tell them what my plans were. And no sooner did I utter those words when I'd be scoffed at. Somebody would utter a negative comment to me or negative comments. They'd give me their opinions that I didn't ask for. And before I knew it, I was influenced by their words and I stopped my plan. And I fell into that abyss of floating around wondering what I should do with myself, all because I told someone what I was going to do. So I have learned over the years not to share those words, not to share my plans. It's not to say that I don't eventually say something to someone, or perhaps somebody recognizes that there's been a change, there's been a shift. It's not that I don't share it. It's not that I don't tell anybody or give anybody the inside scoop. I may very well do so, but I have learned over the years not to do it at the onset. I've learned that because I need to I could have a plan, say 10 steps, to get to something, to get to an end result. But maybe within those 10 steps, over a period of weeks or months, I've had to twist and turn things around. I've had to edit those steps. What I found is that people will hold me to the original 10 steps. Say, for example, it was 10 steps. They'll hold me to those and say, well, Jacqueline, you said this, you said that. And that's true, I did say that. But what I learned is that sometimes, and life gets in the way, as I'm sure it does for all of you, is that you have to make little edits as you go. And people don't want to hear about the edits. They just want that, Jacqueline, you said this, therefore that must be the end result. End of story. You didn't do it, therefore we're not interested, and you're a fake or you're a phony. So after many years and decades and a lot of gray hairs later, my friends, I have learned to zip my mouth, keep it shut, and work on my plans for myself quietly, consistently, and use the energy that I would have otherwise used to share those plans with others. And I've used that energy for myself, for my own benefit, and I've kept my mouth shut. And I just want to let you know, like something I promised myself. I made a commitment in October of this year, October 2022, to run 15 minutes a day. Doesn't sound like a lot of time, does it? Sounds like a simple enough plan. 15 minutes running, whether it be outside or on a treadmill, sounds very easy to do. But you should try it. See if you can keep that commitment, because it has been a challenge for me. I'd say 80% of the time, I'm good for that challenge. I'm up, I can do the 15 minutes, I can go beyond the 15 minutes, and I'm happy that I do. But there's 20% of the time, maybe 25% of the time, when running 15 minutes a day is a pain in the ass to complete. I could be not feeling well from the day before. I wake up late, I wake up early. Maybe I've had a really bad night's sleep. I found that works for me is running first thing in the morning, getting it out of the way and getting it done. I tried running it in the evening after a day's work. My legs are exhausted. So I've returned back to running first thing in the morning, getting those 15 minutes or even beyond 15 minutes done first thing in the morning. I've managed to keep that commitment to myself, and I've managed to keep it on a daily basis. I don't know, today's December 30th. I think I started just before, I think it was the second or the third week of October I started. No, definitely in the second week of October, because I know what I was doing in the third week of October. So I started in this second week of October of 2022. I've run every day for 15 minutes or more. And through this video, this is the first time I'm going public with that commitment. I've never shared it with anyone. I don't know if you have such a commitment that you've kept to yourself and you've just wanted to see it through. I'm running 15 minutes a day for 1,000 days. We'll see what happens. That's my commitment to myself. That's a promise. I've had to work on things to make sure that that commitment stays in place. For example, your girl cannot stay up late at night. I've also learned that running in the evening after a full day of work doesn't work for me. I've learned that I need to stay hydrated and drink a lot more water than I used to in order to keep everything, the joints, flexible and a little fluid, no pun intended. I know that I cannot eat a heavy meal the night before, because that interferes with my sleep, which means I'm not going to be in the best shape first thing in the morning. And when I say first thing in the morning, I'm needing to be awake around 5:30 every day during a work week to make sure that the 15 minutes happens. I may very well run more than 15 minutes, and I want to run more than 15 minutes. I'm happy to. But if I get just the 15 minutes done a day, that's good enough for me. If I go beyond 15 minutes, I'm ecstatic, and I keep a record. I also record everything through my Garmin watch. And I use the Garmin app to track everything. So that's just one example of a commitment/promise that I've made for myself. None of my colleagues, none of my close friends knew or know about this. And frankly, I don't know if anybody is going to know it from that group, because I don't know who is going to be watching these videos. Or this video in particular, I should say. So if you're interested in making commitments, resolutions, promises, I'd encourage you to give them some careful thought. Commit to yourself. Make promises to yourself. You don't need to broadcast them. You don't need to broadcast all the details. You may need to do some investigation. You may need to do some research. You may need to do some exploring. You may need to watch some YouTube videos on how to get something done from point A to point B, from start to finish. I don't know, but all I know is running is something I've always enjoyed since I was a little girl. I'm well beyond that stage now in my life, but it is something I've always returned to. And when I came across the idea of running 15 minutes for 1,000 days straight, it clicked for me and it works for me. That's my commitment to me. I've got a few more commitments and promises up here that I'm looking into for 2023. And I can share, I guess I can, in honesty, I can share one of them now with you, and that is to post more content on YouTube. If you've watched any of my previous videos, or if you haven't, and maybe this is the first one you've clicked on, I'm brand new to posting content on YouTube. Currently, my body is 58 years old. I've always been watching YouTube content creators. I've been fascinated by it. The creativity that's out there is beyond anything that I could have expected. I've learned a lot from the content creators, and I thank them for generously sharing their knowledge and their skills, their wisdom and their grace with me, with others. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider becoming a subscriber. Your girl will be back into 2023 with more videos. What I won't be doing is making resolutions. I will be making commitments and promises to myself. I'll be making them quietly. I'll be making them privately. I will probably bring you along on the journey of some of them, but not all of them. I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Blessings to you all, and I wish you all a great new year. I hope that you all have a wonderful 2023. Thank you very much for watching, and again, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thanks very much, everyone. Be well.